Massacre at Virginia Tech with Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira, live on the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg, Virginia.
And welcome to a special edition of Today on a very somber Tuesday morning. I'm Meredith Vieira here alongside Matt Lauer on the campus of Virginia Tech University. Matt, people are still in such a state of shock here. I don't even know what to say. You look at the faces, just stunned, disbelief.
It's unspeakable to put a word on it. It truly is. This is going to be a day for mourning here at Virginia Tech. There is a public memorial planned for a little bit later this afternoon. Last night, grieving students held a vigil at the War Memorial here on campus. It's a memorial that overlooks the quad, the main attraction of the center part of this campus. And all this time, investigators continued to work into the night looking for clues as to how this could have happened. And there are so many questions that need to be answered. It could be a while before we get those answers.
Absolutely. Let me tell you what we know so far. So far, we know that the gunman remains publicly unidentified, but Virginia Tech's president says that he was a student of Asian descent. The shooter was carrying 2 handguns. He used one of them to take his own life. The attacks, one in a dorm building, the other in a classroom building, and they happened about 2.5 hours apart. Some of the doors at the second location had been chained shut by the shooter, apparently to keep the students and the teachers inside or the police outside.
You know, some of the images we've already seen this morning, those students looking out of the doors, trying to figure out what was going on. The chaos, by the way, was caught by one student on his cell phone, gunfire ringing out, police scrambling. Some students have been reported to have jumped out of windows just to save themselves, injuring themselves, but at least escaping the gunfire.
Whoa. And today, the university's president, who obviously is very upset, has some hard questions that he has to answer. For example, why wasn't the campus locked down after that first shooting in the dorm left 2 people dead? And why did the university wait so long to notify the students about the shootings, and then only by email?
Right, and email 2 hours after the first shooting. We're going to talk to Charles Steger, who is the president of Virginia Tech. That interview is coming up. But first, let's get the very latest on the shootings from NBC's Kevin Cork, who joins us here at Virginia Tech. Kevin, good morning to you.
Matt, good morning to you. You know, I've been here to Blacksburg before. It's a town where you can expect a smile and a friendly hello. Yesterday, though, a very different story. It was oh so quiet. From the long walk on from the car into the campus, it was eerily silent, a clear indication that something very tragic happened here in Blacksburg yesterday. 7:15 a.m. The first 911 calls came into Blacksburg police. A shooting on the 4th floor of the West Ambler Johnston dormitory. Multiple students shot. Within minutes, officers and members of the sheriff's department converged on campus. Lauren Steele was on the floor above.
A boyfriend and girlfriend who were in a fight, and the RA came out to help, and the boyfriend shot the girl and the RA.
7:30 a.m. Police began to track down a person of interest. They believe the deaths were an isolated domestic dispute, and students at the dorm were warned to stay inside. 8:25 a.m. The university's leadership team assembled, but normal activities on campus continued. 9:26 a.m. Campus officials sent out 36,000 emails to the campus community, reporting the shooting at the dorm and asking students to report anything suspicious. Officials began drafting a press release. 9:45 a.m. More than 2 hours after the first shots were reported at the Johnston dorm, a second 911 call came in, reporting a shooting at Norris Hall, a 5-minute walk from the first crime scene and on the other side of campus. Police immediately responded, only to find the front door barricaded with chains. They broke down the door, and hearing gunshots, they headed to the classrooms on the 2nd floor. But by the time they got there, the shooting had stopped. The gunman was dead. Sophomore Derek Odell, a biology major, was shot in the arm. He described the scene to NBC's Brian Williams.
He had unloaded probably 8 or 10 shots into people in our class, very tragically. And he reloaded his clip, and nobody could really stop him because we were all hit or scared out of our minds.
Eyewitness Trey Perkins was in German class. He said the gunman made no demands, just started shooting.
I turned a couple desks over to try to get that between us and the shooter. He shot for probably a minute and a half, and after that he left.
Outside, graduate student Jamal Alberguti captured the sounds of gunfire on his cell phone camera. As the death toll continued to climb, so did the questions. Why weren't the students warned earlier during the more than 2 hours between the first and second shootings? Virginia Tech Police Chief W.R. Flincham tried to explain.
Keep in mind, when we first got there, we had to figure out exactly what we had first. So it did take some time to get all that in place and going.
Indeed, the questions will continue here in Blacksburg throughout the day. Later today, students will gather at 2 p.m., a chance to begin the healing process. Matt?